Okay, so you see Longlegs, and you're probably still trying to figure out just how this guy pulls out everything. He's not just physically there in those houses, but he's definitely pulling the strings. Because this is where it gets really creepy. The film drops hints about those dolls, about Satan, and about all sorts of dark stuff. But it never fully explains how it all works. Is it magic? Is it some sort of mind control? Or is it Longlegs just a really, really good manipulator? This is the questions that have been keeping me writing this video, and I know I'm not alone. The film does this brilliant thing. It blurs the line between the supernatural as well as the psychological, and you start to question everything. Okay, let's talk about those black orbs in the dolls, because something about them is just off. They're small and they're seemingly empty, but the coroner cracked one open. It was like a wave of darkness washed over the room. And remember how Lee had those psychic flashes when she touched the doll, and again, the coroner thought he heard his ex-wife talking to him. It's enough to make you wonder what the hell had Longlegs put on those things. The film doesn't give us a straight answer, but I got a theory. I think those orbs are like little batteries of evil, charged with Longlegs' twisted energy. They're the source of his power, the things that allow him to reach out and manipulate those families from afar. It's like he's figured out a way to weaponize his own darkness, and those orbs are his bullet. Remember, we have to think about how he's been Longlegs for more than 20 years. Now, I'm really curious about something. What if those orbs are also connected to Lee's psychic abilities? I mean, there has to be a reason she's drawn to this case. It's more than just a coincidence. Could it be that she got a piece of the same darkness inside her? My theory, and there's no hints about this, I have to write the theory, is that maybe Longlegs is actually the father of Lee and he had a relationship with Lee's mother. This is why the case is so familiar. Which brings me to the ending. Because let's talk about that ending, because it's a total cliffhanger. The Lee standing there with Ruby surrounded by the bodies, holding that creepy doll, and you're left wondering what the hell happened next. The film doesn't give us a straight answer, but it drops some serious hints. Remember those ominous words Longlegs whispered to Lee before he bashed his brains? Why don't you ask your mommy? Now, he could have been talking about everything he did, but what if he meant something else? What if he was talking about Lee? Like he saw something in her, something dark, something that reminded him of himself. And that final shot of Lee frozen, starting at the doll, with that blank look, is it possible that she's possessed, that she's going to become the new Longlegs, carrying on his legacy of terror? It's a thought. It leaves you with a sense of unease, a feeling that the nightmare is not truly over. I'm dying to know what Oz has planned for the sequel, because this story definitely feels like it's just getting started. Okay, so the film ends with this shot of Longlegs in the interrogation room saying "Hail Satan." It's a chilling final image, but you got to remember what happened before that. This guy hurt himself badly. He smashed his head against the table, and it was rough to watch. Now, this is where it gets really confusing. Was that whole evil mastermind persona just a facade? Was he trying to manipulate Lee, even in death? Or was he a true believer who was willing to make the ultimate sacrifice? I'm dying to know what Oz has planned for a sequel, because this story definitely feels like it's just getting started. Obviously, the film is gonna be successful when it comes to the box office, so I have no doubt that they're gonna go ahead and create a next one. It's a question that the film leaves us unanswered, and it's one of the things that make Longlegs so fascinating. It doesn't give us an easy answers, so it lets us, the viewers, decide what to believe. Okay, so let's get into Lee again, because this is where those theories and unanswered questions really start to fly. The film ends with her holding Ruby, but she also is holding that doll. This is a huge red flag. We know that those dolls are bad news. They're little vessels of evil, and Longlegs said himself that she should ask mommy. So here's what I imagine, and here's an unanswered question that I hopefully is unanswered, and I'm trying to answer that question. Remember the psychic flashes she had? Well, my opinion is that she has a darkness inside her that throughout the film she's starting to see more and more of. By the end of the film, she becomes that darkness that Longlegs has been hinting about throughout, meaning that there's a possibility that she could be the new Longlegs. If she's going to continue this twisted legacy, that's really interesting. Another unanswered question, and more of a theory, could Longlegs be the Antichrist? So this is a theory, and it's a really interesting that Longlegs actually be the Antichrist. Now, the film doesn't outright say that, but it definitely drops some hints. Remember those quotes about the book of Revelations? They talk about a beast rising from the sea, a false prophet, and the mark of the beast. And it's hard to not see some parallels with Longlegs. He's got a twisted charisma. He manipulates people with promises and threats, and this whole man downstairs definitely screams Antichrist. Plus, think about how he sacrificed himself during the interrogation. It's a twisted parody of Jesus' crucifixion, but instead of dying for humanity, he's offering himself up to evil. So yes, it's disturbing. It makes you question everything. Another unanswered question is why Lee? But how about Longlegs himself? Why was he so fixated on Lee as a child? I mean, she doesn't even have a dad for him to manipulate with that doll. It's like he saw something in her. Again, I'm starting to think about how it's a possibility that Lee is actually Longlegs' daughter. It's not said, but it's connecting more and more. The same twist that how Lee's mother was working with Longlegs, I could imagine that Longlegs had something with Lee's mother. So there's so many mysteries here, so many possibilities. Now the question that is unanswered, why Longlegs? This is a bit of a head scratcher. It could be a reference to those creepy spider legs on the dolls, or maybe it's about how evil can reach out and touch us from afar, like the shadowy dolls of a nightmare. All those quotes from the book of Revelations, it's clear that the director is using them to create this unsettling religious vibe. But what do they mean? Is it all just for atmosphere? Or is there a deeper connection to Longlegs' plan? And that ending is so open-ended that the director has an idea of what he could explore in a sequel. But let's talk about Carrienne, the sole survivor of Longlegs' first murder. It's a pretty disturbing how she's totally cool with Longlegs, even praising him. But the biggest question is why? Why was she spared? Now, some people think it's because the priest interrupted the ritual. Like maybe the evil was happening enough with those three deaths and let Carrienne live. But here's the thing, that feels a little too easy. There's got to be more to it. I think Longlegs had a reason for letting her live, but we're not shown what it is. Maybe she saw something in her, something he could use. Remember how she was talking about doing whatever Longlegs asked of her? Well, that's creepy. It's like he planted a seed in her mind and she's waiting for him to come back and raid it and use it. Or what if her survival is connected to Lee's power? Maybe it's part of a larger plan, something that's going to play out in that hopefully inedible sequel. It's one of the film's most disturbing mysteries, and I want to know the answer of this. And speaking of unanswered question, what's the deal with the supernatural stuff? We got those dolls, we got Longlegs' weird pronouncements, and we got those moments that suggest there are forces at play beyond our understanding. But the film never fully explained, is it evil magic, psychic powers, something else entirely? Now this is where it gets, in my opinion, more interesting. The director is playing with our expectations. I don't like that he's not giving us a clear-cut answer. It's like he's saying, hey, you figure it out. And that makes the film even more effective because, in my opinion, it allows us to fill in the blanks, but at the same time, it doesn't. Do you think those dolls are possessed by the demons? Is it Lee channeling some kind of dark energy? Or is it just a product of a Longlegs' twisted mind? So that's the video for today. What are your thoughts on the film? Leave it in the comments below. My name is Christian from the Premiere, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye, one.